Okay, let's jump straight in. We're looking at something that used to feel pretty technical, niche even, but wow, has it become a core life skill now? Personal information security.
Absolutely. And our sources today are really interesting because they focus on a proactive solution, a big new public education program from the Douglas County Libraries, DCL, called Protect Your Digital Space.
Right, DCL. So the mission for this deep dive really is to unpack why this digital self-defense is suddenly essential. What are the basics this program teaches?
And crucially, why a library? Why is this kind of public, trusted place the right, maybe even the only place to deliver this kind of training effectively?
Yeah, that's a key question because when you say cybersecurity, I think most people still picture, I don't know, spies or huge corporations fighting hackers. But the sources make it clear the real front line is, well, it's us, regular users. Information security, just keeping your own stuff private. It's a skill most of us just haven't been taught.
And the threats aren't just annoying spam anymore. We're talking rampant identity theft, really sophisticated scams, and data breaches that affect, huge populations, not just single companies.
Which is why we need this shift to personal defense.
Exactly. It's become necessary.
And the context here, it's pretty alarming when you look at the scale. We have to talk numbers, right? Like the 2023 Progress Software Movi breach.
Oh, yeah, Movi. That was huge.
It's this tool for massive file transfers, right? So hitting that was basically like a supply chain attack. It got, 94 million users?
Yes.
Over 2,500 organizations, all at once.
Yeah, a classic catastrophic failure scenario. The
Yeah.
sources put the damage around $15 billion from that one incident. It just shows how one weak link can expose millions.
And it's not like that was a one-off. Remember the 2021 LinkedIn breach?
700 million users.
That's like 93% of everyone on LinkedIn. Full names, emails, where they live, other social media links.
When that much personal data gets out, the risk of really targeted phishing attacks and identity theft it skyrockets.
It makes it so much easier for the bad guys.
And we're not just looking back. The sources even mention future worries, like this projected 2025 T-App incident. They talk about 72,000 images, including driver's licenses, and over 1 million private messages potentially exposed.
Driver's licenses.
Yeah.
Wow. That's getting really personal.
Exactly. The intimacy of the data shows attackers are going after the most sensitive stuff they can find.
So the bottom line is our data is just constantly being exposed.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's less about if your data has been breached and more like how many times.
Right. Which brings us back to why DCL is stepping in with this program. If the danger is so obvious, why are people, still so vulnerable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Which leads us perfectly into the psychology of it all.
Yeah, the sources talk about this concept called technostress.
Technostress.
Yes.
Sounds a bit academic, but it feels real. If the threats are so bad, why aren't we all locking down our accounts like Fort Knox?
Well, technostress is apparently a big reason for that indifference, that vulnerability. I mean, think about it trying to keep up with everything. New encryption, complex password rules, two-factor authentication for every single app.
It's exhausting.
It creates real anxiety, cognitive overload, so people just reject the change. Or, as the sources say, they stay vulnerable because it's easier than dealing with it. Easier to hope someone else is handling security.
It's like knowing you need to clean the garage,
Yeah.
but just never getting around to it, digitally speaking.
Yeah, that chronic avoidance. And this anxiety, this paralysis, it gets exploited. The sources call it the convenience trap.
The convenience trap. Explain that.
Okay, so new tech always asks for our trust, right, in exchange for making things easy. But the key point here is that this process can actually purposefully mislead users into assuming their data is protected.
So we think we're safe because it's easy to use.
Exactly. We trade security for convenience, often without even realizing the true long-term risk we're taking on.
So we're sort of conditioned to think the platform's got our back, but ultimately the buck stops with us, the individual.
Right. And then you add another layer. The attackers are getting smarter. Much smarter.
How so?
Well, the adversaries now have AI. That's a game changer. One expert in sources pointed out that we're going to see more breaches, partly because attackers are using AI to, and I quote, come up with new attacks that are super tailored and hard to spot.
Okay, so if the attackers have AI and we're battling our own techno-stress, the solution needs to be really basic, really accessible.
Precisely. Which brings us back to DCL's Protect Your Digital Space program. what's the actual goal? What are people supposed to get out of these workshops?
Yeah, what's the curriculum look like?
It seems really strategic.
Yeah.
They're not trying to make everyone a security expert overnight. It's about creating informed digital citizens. Three main goals. First, help people look at their own habits and see where their risks are.
Okay, self-assessment first.
Makes sense.
Second, teach simple but high-impact ways to fix those weak spots.
Practical steps. Good. And third, and this might be the most important nurture, a lifelong learning mindset about digital safety.
That mindset part is key, isn't it? Because the threats change constantly. It can't be a one-time fix.
Exactly. It's about continuous digital hygiene. The core idea is helping people understand and make conscious choices about those trade-offs between convenience and personal security. Knowing when easy isn't worth the risk.
So what are the specific skills? What are the fundamental best practices they're teaching?
They're hitting the essentials, the things that give you the biggest bang for your buck as an average user.
Yeah.
Stuff like good password management, really understanding that.
Like using password managers, maybe?
Presumably, yes. And correctly using multi-factor authentication, or MFA. That alone stops a huge chunk of basic attack.
Right, MFA is crucial. What else?
Understanding and actually using privacy settings on social media and your devices. Effective ad blocking.
Ad blocking. I always thought that was just about annoying pop-ups. Why is that fundamental to security?
Because ads, especially malicious ones, are a really common way malware gets delivered these days. Blocking them isn't just about speed or annoyance. It closes a known door for attackers.
Huh. Okay, didn't fully realize that connection. Good point.
And then securing your own devices, your phone, your laptop, and your home Wi-Fi network. That's often your last line of defense.
And how are they delivering this? Is it just online guides?
No, and this is important. It's planned as 12 monthly in-person workshops, starting January 2026. Free and open to everyone.
In person. That's a commitment.
And they're specifically targeting teens, adults, and seniors, recognizing that each group faces different kinds of risks online.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this is a big step up from what they were doing before, right? Like occasional one-on-one tech help.
Right. They realized that individual tutoring, while helpful, just wasn't scalable or consistent enough for a problem this widespread. This is a much more systematic approach.
It's really embedding digital security into their core mission, alongside literacy.
Exactly. A deliberate expansion of their community service goal.
Which brings us back to that fascinating question. Why the library? What makes it the right place for this, rather than, say, a tech company or a government agency?
Well, it boils down to history and trust. Libraries have always been about providing access to information, protecting user privacy, intellectual freedom.
They have that built-in credibility.
Exactly. They've been teaching digital literacy skills for years. This is just the next logical, maybe urgent evolution of that role. Plus, they're neutral.
Neutral how?
A tech company might offer security tools, but their main goal is usually profit or collecting data, right?
Sure.
A library's only interest is the well-being and privacy of the patron. That non-commercial, unbiased stance builds immediate trust. There's a great quote referenced from Palfrey back in 2015.
What does it say?
Something like, "The world of knowledge and information is becoming increasingly controlled by corporations. The library acts as that crucial public interest voice."
So it's not just tech support, it's advocacy. I like how DCL puts it too. They're aiming beyond just technical fixes. They want to foster digital confidence, curiosity, compassion, and understanding.
It shows they get the human side, the techno-stress problem we talked about. It's a behavioral challenge, not just a software update issue.
And they're backing this up with serious instructor requirements, aren't they? This isn't just anyone off the street teaching these classes.
No way. They're setting a high bar. The DCL IT staff, library staff, and even volunteers involved have to meet specific standards.
Like what kind of standards?
Okay, so instructors need to either complete specific, pretty rigorous, free LinkedIn learning courses on privacy and security concepts.
Okay, some baseline training.
Or, and this is really impressive, they need to hold current, recognized industry certifications.
You mean like professional IT certs?
Yeah, we're talking CompTIA Security Plus or Network Plus, SANS training equivalents, or even higher level stuff like CCNA for networking or CISSP for security management.
Wow, CISSP.
Right.
For listeners who might not know, what does having a CISSP mean?
CISSP, Certified Information Systems Security Professional, that's one of the gold standards in the security field. It's tough to get. It means you have a really deep, broad understanding of security principles, architecture, management. the whole picture.
So requiring that level of expertise for free public workshops.
Yeah.
That's a major statement.
It absolutely is. It signals the quality and seriousness DCL is aiming for. It means the advice people get will be accurate, up-to-date, and relevant to the real threats out there. It basically turns the library into a legit hub for security education.
Yeah, it's moving way beyond just being a help desk. It's becoming an active defense resource for the community. So wrapping this up, for you, the listener, the digital citizen, what's the big takeaway from this whole DCL initiative?
I think the synthesis is pretty clear. Information security isn't a tech trend. It's a fundamental life skill now, period.
Non-negotiable.
Right. And building a strong foundation using those best practices, DCL is teaching like strong authentication, good password habits, controlling your privacy settings that will genuinely slow down and discourage attackers. It makes you a harder target.
So applying these countermeasures is key for reducing risk. But we have to end on a slightly sobering note, based on the source material.
Yeah, the sources are really explicit about this. Doing all the right things will not guarantee total safety. That's just not realistic anymore.
So the mindset needs to shift.
Completely. We, as consumers, have to understand that because the threats evolve so fast, partly thanks to AI, now there will be more breaches. It's inevitable.
So the goal isn't this mythical 100% security, which is impossible anyway.
Exactly. The real goal is practicing ongoing vigilance and smart risk management. It's about making yourself less attractive to attackers than the next person.
So that final thought for listeners to chew on. Think about what slow down and dissuade actually means in practice.
Yeah. If you use strong MFA everywhere, if your passwords are complex and unique, maybe managed by a password manager, you force an attacker to spend way more time and effort trying to get in.
You raise the cost for them.
Precisely. That friction, that increased difficulty, that's the real win in personal cybersecurity today. That's the continuous work we all need to focus on.